Hello everybody and welcome back to another Toontown Rewritten video. Today we're going to be doing another guide video of everything you need to know about the CJ boss battle. Let's get on with the video, shall we? The Chief Justice, also known as the CJ, is the official Lawbot HQ boss that players face inside the headquarters. This is the third boss in Toontown Rewritten. It's considered to be one of the most difficult boss battles in the game. In order to fight the CJ, you must have both the following: a lawbot Cog disguise suit and jury notices. Now, how do you obtain a lawbot Cog disguise? In order to start collecting parts for the Cog disguise, the player must complete all Toon tasks in Donald's Dreamland. Once completed all the Donald's Dreamland Toon tasks, you would receive tasks to visit Professor Flake and start recovering items on every Cog street. You would keep visiting the professor until you receive all your Cog disguise parts. The next thing you need to obtain is jury notices. And how would you attain these jury notices, you may ask? Well, jury notices are needed in order to receive promotions on your Cog disguise suit and fight the CJ. Jury notices are received by defeating lawbots. Jury notices are earned based on the level of the lawbot. For an example, a level 6 lawbot will earn you 3 jury notices. Jury notices are half the level of the Cog. The most common and most effective way to receive jury notices is to fight into the DA offices in the lawbot headquarters. Now I'm briefly going to talk about the DA offices. I'm not going to go all in onto the DA's offices, but this is just to give the basics and rundown on how you get these jury notices. To sum it up, there are 4 different types of DA's offices that toons can go into based on the requirements and how many notices they need to go into the battle. In these offices, you can get quad jury notices, which is probably one of the most effective way to get these jury notices for toons to get the promotions on their Cog disguises. Each office is corresponded with a letter. We'll start with the very first beginning, or the bottom tier of the offices. Office A. This Office A has no laugh limit. It has 3 floors, 6 Cog battles, and 24 Cogs in total, and you are guaranteed 564 jury notices. Office B requires an 81 laugh point requirement. It has 4 floors in this office. It also has 8 Cog battles and 32 Cogs total, and you are guaranteed at least 944 jury notices once you defeat the office. Next is Office C. This requires an 86 laugh point requirement. It has 5 floors, 10 Cog battles, and 40 Cogs total. And once you get inside and defeat it, you are guaranteed 1,370 jury notices. And finally is Office D. This requires a 96 laugh point requirement. It has 6 floors, 12 Cog battles, and 48 Cogs in total. This also guarantees about 1,842 jury notices exactly. Be aware that in between these Cog battles are obstacle rooms that their main and sole purpose there is to literally make you go sad, such as giant goons, giant spotlights, spazzy giant spotlights, a ton of stompers and spotlights, and puzzles. Now, because I'm nice and I like math, I've actually calculated the specific amount of minimum offices that you guys need to defeat in order to reach their max promotion based on what suit level you guys are on. For the max promotion of the bottom feeder, it requires 500 jury notices. This is an easy one on Office A. For a bloodsucker, you will require 800 jury notices. This is an easy one Office B. For a double talker, you will need 1300 jury notices. This is an easy Office C. For an ambulance chaser, it requires 2100 jury notices. This requires one Office D and one Office A. Then we go to the backstabber. This requires 34 jury notices to move on to the spin doctor, and this equal 2 Office D specifically. Next is the Spin Doctor, which requires 5,500 jury notices, and this will equal up to 3 Office Ds. Next is the Legal Eagle, which requires 8,900 jury notices. This will need to be about 5 Office Ds and 1 Office A. Or instead of the Office A, you could do either a 4 or 5-star lawbot building at Polar Place in the Burg or Donald's Dreamland. It's up to you. Either do the Office A or a 4 or 5-story lawbot building. Next is the granddaddy of all the lawbots, which is the Bigwig. This requires 14,400 jury notices, which requires 8 Office Ds specifically. So that is a lot of Office Ds, but really it is not that bad as people may describe it meant to be. It's really not as bad as people might describe, in my opinion. Just sit back and relax, watch some YouTube as you go through all these Office Ds in one sitting. It can be easily done within a day. Now let's go into the CJ battle itself. In a CJ battle, you can have up to 8 toons for one boarding group. The best way to find 8 toons for a boarding group is to use the Toon HQ website to find and join groups. The only other option you can get to find 8 toons is to find 7 other friends to do this boarding group with you. Now let's get to the first round of the CJ battle, which is the Cog round. The toons will be split up into 2 groups. Each group faces about 24 to 30 cogs. It depends on how fast each group is doing when fighting the cogs. The cog level ranges from 8 to 12, and there's a double gag XP multiplier in this cog battle. There's a specific cog pattern that goes around when it comes to this cog battle, is that it builds up from level 8 all the way to level 12, and then goes all the way back down to level 8, and it goes up to level 12 again, and then that's the end of the battle. So use that to keep in track of how many cogs remain in the boss battle. Sound is highly recommended against these cogs, so it's best to know your sound combos. I'm going to list them up in the screen below so you guys know what you need to do. I'm not going to go through them one by one just to save time. If sound is not an option, then lure is the best next option to go through these cogs. It's a little bit slower than sounding through all the cogs, but it is a safer but yet next best option to fight the cogs. The second round of the CJ battle is the cannon round. The main objective in this round is that the toons will be ordered to use toon cannons to fire and place toons in the jury. There is 12 seats in the jury in total. Some key points to mention is that 8 toons must be in these seats to balance the weight scale in the third round, and the toons will have only 70 seconds to place these toons in the jury. Now I know you have 70 seconds to place the toons in the jury, but that does not mean to use all that 70 seconds to continuously fire toons in the jury. Here is the best effective way to fire toons in the jury to get the best chance of having toons in those jury seats. Until the timer reaches 45 seconds, use the time to aim and fire your cannon to a seat that you want to hit. So this will be the best way to aim your shot before you fire the toons once you hit the next round. Once the timer reaches 45 seconds, this means that all cannons must stop firing, no matter what. If people fired after the 45-second mark, then the cogs will have enough time to retake those seats and you won't have enough time to take the seat back. So do not fire until the timer reaches 22 seconds. The reason behind this is that it takes roughly more than 20 seconds for a cog to come in and be spawned and fly over to a seat to retake it. This makes the cogs unable to retake a seat that a toon has a seat for before the timer runs out. Once again, do not fire your toon or cannon before 22 seconds. To save time and to get as much toons into these juries, do not fire before 22 seconds. Once the timer reaches 22 seconds, it is now safe to return fire again and hit those toons into the seats. You only have about less than 20 seconds to get all those seats filled up with toons, so be quick and fast and try to be accurate. The more toons you have in the jury, the heavier the weight evidence during the final round will be, and the heavier the weight, the quicker the final round takes. Next is the final round, the scale round. The main objective behind this round is to grab and throw evidence into the toon scale until the toon scale reaches to the bottom. To obtain evidence, you must grab evidence from the defense stand. The amount and weight of your evidence is based off the amount of toons in the jury and your cog level suit. For an example, when 12 toons are inside the jury, you get a lot more heavier evidence than with say a jury with only 5 or 8 toons. It'll be a lot more lighter with a jury of 8 toons instead of 12 toons. Now how do you throw evidence basically? To throw evidence, press the delete key or basically hover your mouse to the evidence button and left click it to throw the evidence. You can throw the evidence up close or at a long distance. This is the best recommendation to do it at a long distance, as you can easily see the evidence that the cog lures, which I will discuss later, when they start throwing evidence at you. It's also easier to do it to throw it up close, but you might not be able to see the evidence that comes flying in there trying to attack you. Now let's talk about probably one of the most important part of this specific round, which is stunning the lawyer cogs. On the opposite side of the room, cogs will line up to be as lawyers and will attempt to throw evidence to their side of the pan in order to lower their scale down to the bottom as well. And they will either try to throw it into the scale or throw it at other toons. The best recommendation is that one or two toons must work together to stun the cogs in order to stop throwing them evidence. The first type of way is to dual stun, which is probably the most recommended choice to stun the cogs. Basically, 2 toons will line up on opposite end of the lawyer cogs. In one motion or in sync, the toons will run and throw the evidence until they intersect with one another, and communicate when start throwing these evidence in one motion. And in one motion, communicate with your teammate and throw the evidence all the way until you intersect with each other as you go down the line of cogs. This is the best way to stun these cogs and get the specific reward boost. The second best option is to solo stun. There are some toons out there who can actually stun by themselves, and here are 2 ways of the common ways of people solo stun. The one way is to line stun, where some toons basically are able to do that. This is probably the most common way someone would solo stun, is that basically toons will run and throw evidence to the cogs until they reach the other side. This is basically the same way people do with dual stunning, except there's not another toon on the other side to throw evidence at the other side of the cogs. The second option to solo stun is the pivot stun. Place your toon in a position where it can hit all cogs, and then throw and pivot your toon until all that you stun all the cogs. In my opinion, I'd recommend dual stunning over solo stunning, as it can be done a lot more faster and a lot more accurate. But there's people who are able to solo stun, and if you do want to learn how to solo stun, it's best to do it doing this line stun option instead of the pivot stun, as the pivot stun will require more accuracy and practice. If all the cog lawyers are stunned at the same time, a 10 plus laugh boost or laugh tune-up is awarded to all toons, and the weight of the evidence the toons are throwing the evidence is multiplied by 2. The multiplier lasts for 20 seconds, and then there's a 30 to 40 second cooldown before you're awarded again. At this time, toons who are stunning can assist the rest of the group in throwing the evidence into their pan until the cooldown is finished, and then they can go back to stunning again. Like I said, toons who are stunning do not always have to be stunning the cogs 24/7. They can come and help and assist the other toons to throw evidence into the pan, especially during that 30 to 40 second cooldown, in order to receive the bonus again. Now, I also mentioned the obstacles in the final round. There are a lot of things that you can lose laugh from. First off is the running into gavels, which loses -2 laugh if you run into these gavels. If you get smashed by the gavels, it is a -20 laugh, which can be damaging if you are not careful. The most common way people lose laugh is by the evidence thrown by the cog lawyers. This is a -5 laugh. The best way to avoid the evidence thrown by the cog lawyers is to simply jump or run away from the cog evidence if it's being thrown right at you. Just be careful when the cogs are looking at you, and then just avoid or run away from them, or simply jump to avoid the evidence. Another common attack that toons lose laugh from is the CJ jump. The CJ will jump once you hear a siren. Once you hear a specific siren, a notification will pop up from the toon's head like an exclamation point, and this will alarm the toon that the CJ is about to jump. If the toon has jumped before the CJ has landed after their jump, then they will not lose the laugh, but if they miss the jump, they will lose a whopping -10 laugh. Please note that the amount of cog lawyers and gavels present in the final round is based on the average cog suit level in the group. Let's say if it's just a bunch of bottom feeders and bloodsuckers, there won't be not a lot of gavels, and there won't be a lot of cog lawyers out there to oppose you. If you're with a bunch of bigwigs, then it's going to be a lot harder with a lot more gavels present and a lot more cog lawyers present. If the cog pan reaches to the bottom of the weight scale, all toons will be immediately go sad and return back to the playground. Luckily, unlike most cog bosses, gags are not lost from this specific way to go sad. It's kind of weird how it happens, but I guess you can say the CJ is a lot more forgiving than the other cog bosses. If the toon pan reaches to the bottom of the scale, it is an automatic win for the toons, and they will receive the rewards, and the CJ will just rage quit. Literally, that's what he does. He just simply walks away. Unlike the other bosses who get automatically killed. I don't know the explanation behind it. So that's basically the whole rundown of the CJ boss battle, but here let's talk about the reward of the boss battle specifically. Let's talk about the rewards once you complete the CJ battle. You will get a promotion into your cog suit, and you will receive a cog summon. This is as of recently, each toon gets a different random summon in their cog gallery. A cog summon can be either one of the following. It could be either summoning a specific cog, summoning a specific cog building based on a specific cog, or summoning a cog invasion based on a specific cog. And once again, the higher the cog suit average of the group, the higher tier of the cog summon. For an example, Legal Eagles and Bigwigs will most likely get tier 6, 7, and 8 cogs for their cog summons, while Bloodsuckers, Bottom Feeders, and Double Talkers might get tier 1s, 2s, or 3 cog summons. That is all I have for you guys today. If you guys liked the video, please leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And feel free to leave a comments in the below of specific questions about the CJ boss battle if I missed any certain points. Also, I'm also on Twitch, where I'm going to be live streaming Toontown Rewritten and possibly other games in the near future. So feel free to follow on my Twitch channel, as I had recently started that up, and I'm moving on to Twitch for specific live streaming instead of YouTube. So without further ado, I'll see you guys then, everybody, and hope you guys have a wonderful day. See you guys then, everybody.